Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered why some men walk into a room and instantly earn respect, while others spend their whole lives chasing it and never find it? It's not about money, it's not about looks, and it's not about charm. It's about qualities that run deeper: integrity, strength, compassion, and the relentless pursuit of growth. Today, I'm going to reveal the kind of men women respect the most, not because they demand it, but because they embody it. And once you understand this, you'll see exactly what separates ordinary men from the ones who are truly unforgettable. Imagine a man who never raises his voice to be heard, yet his presence commands silence. He does not have to shout, he does not have to prove, and he certainly does not have to beg for recognition. People feel it the moment he enters the room, an invisible force that comes from within. That force is not arrogance, it is not dominance, it is confidence rooted in authenticity. This is the type of man women respect the most because his character carries more weight than any words he could ever speak. Respect, in its purest form, is not something you chase. It is not a trophy you demand, nor is it a badge someone can hand you. Respect is earned quietly, through the way you carry yourself day after day, through the way you treat others even when no one is watching. Women are drawn to this type of strength because it cannot be faked, it cannot be bought, and it cannot be forced. It is the natural consequence of being a man who knows who he is and does not apologize for it. Think about the men who constantly seek validation. They boast about their achievements, they exaggerate their stories, they try to dominate conversations just to feel important. At first, it might appear impressive, but over time it becomes exhausting. Women see through it. Respect fades because desperation cannot be disguised. The man who truly earns admiration never has to chase it. His silence, his steadiness, and his certainty are more powerful than 1,000 words. There is something magnetic about a man who is comfortable in his own skin. He doesn't need to wear the most expensive clothes or drive the flashiest car to prove his worth. He doesn't measure his identity by how many followers he has or how many people cheer his name. Instead, his worth radiates from within. He carries himself with dignity, whether he is in a boardroom, a crowded street, or sitting quietly at home. A man like this makes women feel secure because if he does not bend for the opinions of the world, he will not bend under pressure in a relationship either. Confidence without arrogance is one of the rarest and most respected qualities in a man. Arrogance is loud, it demands attention, it thrives on comparison, always needing to feel above others. But confidence is quiet. It allows others to shine. It does not compare because it already knows its own value. Women respect men who embody this because it shows maturity, it shows strength, it shows that he does not need external approval to validate his existence. Consider the difference between a man who needs respect and a man who earns it. The one who needs it constantly reminds everyone of his title, his possessions, or his power. The one who earns it simply lives his truth, and people give him admiration freely. Women do not admire men who are desperate to be respected. They admire men who are so consistent, so grounded, that respect becomes the natural response. This type of man also understands self-control. He doesn't lash out when anger rises, he doesn't crumble when obstacles appear, and he doesn't beg when relationships shake. Instead, he responds with composure. He knows that losing control is losing power, and he refuses to hand that over to an yone or anything. Women respect men who maintain their composure because it communicates inner strength. If he can lead himself with discipline, he can be trusted to lead others with clarity. There's also an undeniable truth. A man who commands respect without demanding it has mastered patience. He understands that true respect is not built in one moment, but in countless little choices stacked on top of each other. It is the way he treats the waiter at the restaurant, the way he responds when no one is paying attention, the way he carries himself when things don't go his way. Women notice these small things more than men realize. Respect is born in the unseen moments, not just the grand gestures. When a man lives with this type of quiet confidence, he doesn't intimidate others, he inspires them. He makes people want to rise to his level, not because he pressures them, but because his presence shows what is possible. He becomes a mirror that reflects strength, discipline, and dignity. Women admire this because it gives them something rare in today's world: trust. Trust that he will not collapse when life gets heavy. Trust that he will not betray his character for temporary gains. Trust that he is exactly who he claims to be. This respect goes beyond romance. It affects his career, his friendships, his community. Everywhere he goes, people can feel that he is not easily shaken, not easily swayed. And in a world that often rewards noise and performance, the man who does not need to perform stands out even more. Women respect him deeply because he is the exception. But here's the secret most men miss. This kind of respect cannot be manufactured. You cannot fake composure. You cannot pretend to have integrity. You cannot imitate self-confidence. Women have an instinct that detects authenticity, and they can feel when something is real and when it is just a mask. The man who tries to copy these traits eventually slips, but the man who builds them from within never has to worry about keeping up an act. So how does a man reach this level? It comes from knowing himself. It comes from spending time in silence, reflecting on his values, defining what he stands for. It comes from choosing discipline over comfort, growth over excuses, and truth over lies. It comes from honoring his word, even when it costs him. It comes from refusing to be controlled by fear, greed, or the opinions of others. That is the foundation of quiet confidence, and it is the very reason women respect him so deeply. When a man arrives at this place, he no longer seeks validation. He no longer competes with others. He no longer worries about who notices him. He is too focused on living in alignment with who he is. And that authenticity becomes magnetic. Women are drawn to him not because he demands attention, but because he doesn't need it. That is the paradox of respect. Those who need it rarely receive it, and those who don't need it are given it freely. Every man has the opportunity to choose which path he walks. He can be the one who chases respect endlessly, wearing himself out with performance, or he can be the one who cultivates strength from within, letting respect come to him naturally. The truth is, women respect the latter because he represents something enduring in a world full of temporary illusions. There is something unshakable about a man who lives by his principles. In a world where opinions shift daily, where values are traded for convenience, and where truth is often bent to fit comfort, this kind of man stands out like a mountain among shadows. He is not flawless, but he is firm. He does not claim perfection, but he holds himself accountable to a higher standard. This kind of man earns the deepest respect because his word is not cheap, his choices are not shallow, and his character is not for sale. Every woman has encountered men who speak boldly but collapse when it is time to act. Men who make promises they never keep, who bend their values when pressure arrives, who compromise what they stand for just to please others. At first they may seem charming, but respect for them fades quickly. Words without actions are empty, and charm without integrity is dangerous. Respect cannot grow where principles do not exist. Now imagine the opposite. A man whose yes means yes and whose no means no. A man who says what he means and means what he says. When he speaks, people listen, not because his voice is louder than others, but because his life backs up his words. He is reliable, he is trustworthy, he is consistent. Women respect him because they know that when he gives his word, it is as good as done. He does not need to be reminded, persuaded, or begged to keep his commitments. He does it because his integrity leaves him no other choice. Principles are the backbone of true masculinity. They are the foundation that separates men who are easily swayed by circumstances from those who stand firm regardless of the storm. A man without principles is like a ship without an anchor. He drifts wherever the winds blow, chasing trends, chasing approval, chasing pleasure. But a man with principles is anchored. He knows where he stands, and that steadiness earns admiration. Women respect men who have this backbone because it creates a sense of safety. If he is faithful to his principles, he will be faithful in his relationships. If he honors his word in small things, he can be trusted with bigger responsibilities. If he holds himself to a standard, he will not betray her trust for convenience. This reliability is rare, and when women see it, they cannot help but hold it in high regard. It is not about being stubborn or rigid. A principled man is not blind to growth. He is not afraid to admit mistakes or evolve when wisdom calls for it. But the difference is that his growth is not at the expense of his core values. He may adapt his methods, but he never sells out. Is truth. That balance of flexibility and conviction creates a powerful sense of respect because it shows he is both wise enough to learn and strong enough to stand. Think about history. The men who are remembered are not those who followed the crowd, but those who held to their principles when it was unpopular, when it was costly, when it required sacrifice. Integrity is proven not when it is easy, but when it is hard. A man who holds to his values when no one else does demonstrates courage. That courage is magnetic because it signals leadership. Women admire this because it shows he is not a follower of trends, but a leader of himself. Living by principles also demands discipline. It means saying no to temptations that could destroy his integrity. It means keeping commitments even when feelings change. It means choosing honesty even when lies would be easier. This discipline separates boys from men. Boys look for shortcuts. Men honor the process. Boys compromise when challenged. Men hold steady. Women respect this difference because it represents maturity. There is also an undeniable peace that comes from living by principles. A man who has no values is always restless. He is easily manipulated, constantly pulled between opinions, and forever seeking approval. But a man with principles walks in clarity. He knows what he stands for, so decisions become simpler. His confidence grows, not because he is perfect, but because he is consistent. Women feel that peace when they are around him. They sense the order in his life, the discipline in his choices, and it reassures them that he is dependable. Respect deepens when a man proves that his principles are not just words, but daily habits. It is in the way he treats strangers with kindness, even when there is nothing to gain. It is in the way he refuses to gossip or slander, even when others do. It is in the way he is money with integrity, refusing to cheat or cut corners. These small actions build a reputation far stronger than empty declarations. Women pay attention to these things because they reveal who a man truly is. But perhaps the most powerful quality of a principled man is that he leads by example. He does not preach values he does not practice. He does not demand standards from others that he does not keep himself. His life becomes the message, and people naturally follow his lead. This kind of authenticity is rare, and women respect it because it shows that he is not a hypocrite, but a man of truth. Living by principles also protects a man from being controlled by the world around him. He is not swayed by flattery or bribed by temptation. He is not quick to betray himself for temporary pleasure. His principles act as a compass that guides him, keeping him steady when others fall. Women find security in this steadiness because it means he is not a slave to impulse or weakness. He can be trusted to remain grounded. What makes this so admirable is that it requires sacrifice. Living by principles often means walking away from easy opportunities, refusing shortcuts, or standing alone when others choose the crowd. It may cost friendships, promotions, or temporary pleasures, but it earns something far greater: respect. Women admire men who are willing to pay this price because it shows strength of character. Anyone can take the easy path, but the man who chooses integrity proves his worth. Ultimately, respect flows naturally toward the man who lives this way. He does not have to chase it. He does not have to demand it. He does not have to manipulate anyone to receive it. It comes to him because he has built his life on a foundation of honesty, discipline, and conviction. He becomes someone people can rely on, someone they can admire, someone they can trust even when the world feels unstable. That trust is priceless, and women give their respect freely to the man who has earned it through his unwavering principles. Strength on its own can be intimidating. Compassion on its own can be overlooked. But when strength and compassion meet in the same man, they create a presence that is unforgettable. This balance is rare, yet it is one of the most powerful combinations a man can embody. It is the very balance that women respect most, because it represents not just the ability to stand tall, but also the ability to kneel down and understand. Too often, the world teaches men that strength is about dominance, about controlling others, about never showing emotion, about always being in command. But real strength is not found in the need to overpower others. Real strength is found in self-mastery. It is the ability to control impulses, to endure challenges without breaking, to stay calm when everything around you is shaking. A strong man is not the one who lashes out in anger. He is the one who can hold his anger and channel it with discipline. Women respect this kind of strength because it signals safety. If he can control himself, he can be trusted not to misuse his power. On the other side, compassion is often mistaken for weakness. Yet, compassion is not weakness. It is courage. It takes courage to listen deeply, to put aside pride, to care for the needs of others even when it costs you. A compassionate man does not allow his strength to harden him into stone. Instead, he allows his heart to remain soft enough to feel, to empathize, and to respond with kindness. This is not weakness, but depth. Women respect men who can show compassion because it proves emotional intelligence, something far rarer than physical toughness. When these two qualities meet, strength and compassion, they create a man who can protect without controlling and love without losing his dignity. This kind of man is respected because he is both a shield and a sanctuary. He can stand firm in the face of stow, RMS, yet he can also be gentle enough to make others feel understood. Women are drawn to this because it shows he is not one-dimensional. He is not only hard or only soft, he is whole. Imagine a man who can walk into chaos and bring order, not through shouting or fear, but through calm authority. People follow him not because they are forced to, but because they trust him. That is strength. Now imagine the same man sitting with someone in pain, listening without judgment, offering words that heal rather than wound. That is compassion. The combination of these two paints a picture of true leadership, and women respect that because it makes them feel both safe and valued. There is also a deep respect for men who know when to apply each side. Strength without compassion can create fear, while compassion without strength can create instability. But when a man knows when to stand firm and when to be tender, he shows wisdom. For example, in conflict, a strong but compassionate man does not rush to win the argument. He seeks understanding. He does not raise his hand to dominate. He raises his voice to protect. He knows that being right is less important than doing right. Women respect this discernment because it demonstrates maturity. This balance also reveals itself in how a man treats those who cannot benefit him. The strong but compassionate man does not only show kindness to those he wants to impress, he shows kindness to strangers, to children, to the elderly, to the vulnerable, and his strength ensures that his kindness is not exploited. He can defend boundaries while still offering care. Women notice this deeply because it reflects how he would treat her in moments of vulnerability, not with dismissal, but with protection and empathy. Think about how rare this is. Many men choose extremes. They are either hardened and closed off, hiding behind toughness, or they are overly soft, unable to take a stand. Neither extreme earns long-term respect. The man who balances both proves he has done the inner work to master himself. He has faced his emotions, understood them, and learned to use them as tools instead of letting them become chains. This inner mastery is what makes him stand out. Even in leadership, this combination shines. A man who leads with only strength may achieve fear-driven obedience, but he will never earn true loyalty. A man who leads with only compassion may earn affection, but he may not inspire trust in his ability to protect. The man who leads with both earns devotion. People follow him because they know he will protect them when danger comes and understand them when they stumble. Women respect this because it shows he can create an environment where love and security coexist. Strength with compassion also creates balance in relationships. Women want to know that the man beside them can stand firm when life throws challenges their way, but they also want to know he can open his heart to listen, to nurture, to comfort. Respect flows when she feels that he can fight for her, but also sit with her, hear her, and validate her. It is not either or, it is both. And here's what makes this balance so powerful. It requires vulnerability. Strength is tested in action, but compassion is tested in openness. To show compassion, a man must be willing to step outside his pride, to admit that he too has emotions, that he too understands pain. Vulnerability is not weakness when it is paired with strength, it is power. It takes more courage to say, "I understand," than it does to say, "I don't care." Women respect men who have the courage to be vulnerable because it shows authenticity. What women see in a man who has both qualities is a protector who does not just guard their body but also their heart. He is not only reliable in times of crisis, but also present in times of quiet need. He is not only capable of standing firm against the world, but also capable of creating a safe space where love can thrive. It is why respect runs deep for this kind of man, because he offers what is rare: stability with tenderness, power with empathy. A man who balances strength and compassion is not the loudest in the room, nor does he need to be. His presence speaks for itself. People can sense his steadiness. They can feel his care. Women respect him because he represents something complete. A man who has learned that true greatness is not just about how hard he can fight, but also about how deeply he can love. There is one quality that sets a man apart in ways few others can: his commitment to growth. Respect does not come from standing still, from staying the same year after year, or from clinging to comfort zones. Respect flows naturally toward a man who refuses to remain stagnant, who chooses every single day to rise above who he was yesterday. This is not about being perfect, it is about progress. It is about showing through actions, not words, that life is a journey of constant evolution. Women respect this kind of man because he carries within him the spirit of possibility, the promise that he will not just exist, but expand. A man committed to growth understands that he is never finished. He sees himself as a work in progress, chiseling away at his flaws, sharpening his strengths, and building new dimensions of himself. He invests in his body, keeping it strong and disciplined. He invests in his mind, feeding it wisdom instead of distractions. He invests in his purpose, seeking meaning rather than drifting aimlessly. Each step he takes toward improvement signals to the world, and especially to women, that he is not content with mediocrity. He wants more, and he is willing to work for it. Women respect men who embody this quality because it reflects security and vision. A man who grows will never let life pass him by. He will never let complacency kill his potential. His willingness to keep moving forward means that he is also capable of leading others into a better future. In relationships, this matters deeply. Women know that life brings challenges, seasons of change, and unexpected storms. A man who has trained himself to adapt, to evolve, and to improve is a man who can carry the weight of those seasons with courage. Contrast this with the man who never grows. He clings to comfort. He refuses to learn. He hides behind excuses and calls it fate. At first, he may appear stable, but in truth, he is stuck. Over time, stagnation breeds resentment, frustration, and weakness. Women do not respect men who refuse to grow because stagnation is not safety, it is decay. Growth, on the other hand, is a sign of life. A man who grows is alive with purpose, alive with curiosity, alive with ambition. Growth is not only about outward success, it is not only about earning more money or gaining more recognition. True growth is holistic. It means learning emotional control, building resilience, sharpening self-awareness, and strengthening spiritual or moral foundations. It means being humble enough to admit mistakes and wise enough to learn from them. Women respect this because it shows humility. A man who pretends to know it all is brittle. A man who admits he does not know everything but is eager to learn is strong. The commitment to growth also requires courage. Growth is uncomfortable. It asks a man to face his weaknesses, to endure failure, to take risks that stretch him. Most people avoid this discomfort, but the man who leans into it becomes stronger with each step. Women respect this courage because it reflects leadership. If he is willing to step into discomfort for his own growth, he will also have the courage to face challenges for the sake of those he loves. Think about what it means for a man to say, "I am not finished." It means he refuses to be defined by his past. It means he will not be trapped by old mistakes or limited by old patterns. Every day becomes an opportunity to become more disciplined, more compassionate, more focused, more capable. This forward momentum is inspiring. Women admire it because it creates certainty that tomorrow with him. A man who balances strength and compassion is not the loudest in the room, nor does he need to be. His presence speaks for itself. People can sense his steadiness. They can feel his care. Women respect him because he represents something complete. A man who has learned that true greatness is not just about how hard he can fight, but also about how deeply he can love. There is one quality that sets a man apart in ways few others can: his commitment to growth. Respect does not come from standing still, from staying the same year after year, or from clinging to comfort zones. Respect flows naturally toward a man who refuses to remain stagnant, who chooses every single day to rise above who he was yesterday. This is not about being perfect, it is about progress. It is about showing through actions, not words, that life is a journey of constant evolution. Women respect this kind of man because he carries within him the spirit of possibility, the promise that he will not just exist, but expand. A man committed to growth understands that he is never finished. He sees himself as a work in progress, chiseling away at his flaws, sharpening his strengths, and building new dimensions of himself. He invests in his body, keeping it strong and disciplined. He invests in his mind, feeding it wisdom instead of distractions. He invests in his purpose, seeking meaning rather than drifting aimlessly. Each step he takes toward improvement signals to the world, and especially to women, that he is not content with mediocrity. He wants more, and he is willing to work for it. Women respect men who embody this quality because it reflects security and vision. A man who grows will never let life pass him by. He will never let complacency kill his potential. His willingness to keep moving forward means that he is also capable of leading others into a better future. In relationships, this matters deeply. Women know that life brings challenges, seasons of change, and unexpected storms. A man who has trained himself to adapt, to evolve, and to improve is a man who can carry the weight of those seasons with courage. Contrast this with the man who never grows. He clings to comfort. He refuses to learn. He hides behind excuses and calls it fate. At first, he may appear stable, but in truth, he is stuck. Over time, stagnation breeds resentment, frustration, and weakness. Women do not respect men who refuse to grow because stagnation is not safety, it is decay. Growth, on the other hand, is a sign of life. A man who grows is alive with purpose, alive with curiosity, alive with ambition. Growth is not only about outward success, it is not only about earning more money or gaining more recognition. True growth is holistic. It means learning emotional control, building resilience, sharpening self-awareness, and strengthening spiritual or moral foundations. It means being humble enough to admit mistakes and wise enough to learn from them. Women respect this because it shows humility. A man who pretends to know it all is brittle. A man who admits he does not know everything but is eager to learn is strong. The commitment to growth also requires courage. Growth is uncomfortable. It asks a man to face his weaknesses, to endure failure, to take risks that stretch him. Most people avoid this discomfort, but the man who leans into it becomes stronger with each step. Women respect this courage because it reflects leadership. If he is willing to step into discomfort for his own growth, he will also have the courage to face challenges for the sake of those he loves. Think about what it means for a man to say, "I am not finished." It means he refuses to be defined by his past. It means he will not be trapped by old mistakes or limited by old patterns. Every day becomes an opportunity to become more disciplined, more compassionate, more focused, more capable. This forward momentum is inspiring. Women admire it because it creates certainty that tomorrow with him